there are certain forces and certain opposites that you have to deal with that you can't resist their power. You can't hold back the tide. You can't be King Canute ordering the tide to go back. Hi, I'm Dee and welcome to Sunchild Tarot. Now this is a general reading for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, whatever placement you want to look at. And if you don't know what your placements are, there is a link down below to get yourself a free birth chart. You'll simply need the time and place of your birth as well as the date. It certainly helps. So being a general reading rules apply. So I could be talking about you and meaning somebody else, or I could be talking about somebody else and I'm actually talking about you, because roles in tarot can be reversed sometimes and you can't always keep a track of that. Timing is hardly absolute. You know, with tarot it hardly ever is. But this reading either is for you or it isn't, because there is a past and a present in the spread. If the past and the present don't fit, then this reading is not for you, at least not at the moment. Go and have a look at one of your other placements, or have a look at some of the other readers on YouTube, because there's some great talent on here. So the other thing I'd like you to do is ask a question. I'll continue with my waffle in a moment, but ask a question before you come to this reading. So pause the video if you have to. Think about all of the questions that surround you at the moment and then focus on one of them. Now, be aware of all of them, because the cards will answer whatever they please. But they ain't got the same sense of priorities that you and I may have. But the active focus is you are giving energy to the reading, and hopefully I will be returning that energy to you. Any other details about the reading, they're in the description below. Obviously, you're well aware from every YouTube video you've ever watched about the like, share, subscribe speech. So if you like the video, press the like button. Please do comment down below, because it's always good to know if my readings are meaning something to people or not, because as it is, I'm just sat in a room on my own, well, and the cat, talking to a camera. Do please press subscribe if you like it, because there's plenty more where these come from, and I'm a young channel, so every subscriber helps. Any other details are down below. Oh, plus a link to the Facebook group where you can contact me directly, and you will see all these videos posted, obviously, but also all the astrology videos that I watch. Sometimes some of the other videos that I see from other readers as well. So with no further ado, let me bring up the cards. Let me just switch cameras, and I'm not entirely sure what's happened to my camera setup now, but okay, so I feel at the moment you're desperately trying to find your own inner light, because you are balancing a commitment that you want to deal with. It's really important to you to keep this commitment up, and you're looking to see the higher purpose in it, but you've sort of lost faith in it all at the same time. It's something that you feel like you really could do with walking away from, even though you know it's something you have committed to, something that you are wanting to grasp hold of. This may have been for some time. I've yet to look into the past. But you feel like you're treading a precarious path at the moment. That's what I'm very much getting from that Hermit card. Yes, there's the seeking your own inner light, but there's the fact that he's an old man walking down a rather narrow, rocky path, you know, and he's got to be very sure of his footing. Now, you are trying to be sure of your footing with this Hierophant card here. You're trying to keep things to... trying to keep everything to a higher purpose, to a higher aspect, but you know that it's a balancing act, but it is also time to act, but it's something that you're emotionally torn around, and you don't feel like you're getting a tremendous amount of support from the people that are around you right now. So let's see. The minute I turn the camera on, my ears always itch. let's see what's led up to this. So I'm not going to go to the distant relevant past. I'm just going to start recently where, okay, there was, yeah, this balancing act isn't new for you. We've got the temperance card here as well. But this is when you was trying to build things, and you were actually build things in your life, whatever that may be. You know, so this could be job, this could be relationship, this could be a conservatory, you know what I mean? But I think it's probably a little bit more than a conservatory. It's you're trying to build something in your life and set yourself with a good, solid foundation. And it was something that you were putting investment and time in, and you were beginning to reap the rewards from it. But balance was required. Temperance card again. So that's all three temperance cards. But again, there's very much call to act. You've gone through a transformation recently that took a lot of strength for you to go through once you realised that you had to get moving. You had to start doing things, whatever that doing was. This is over and above whatever it was that you had been building. Maybe there was some form of swift change that came in. But a burden came in that, okay, a burden came in that caused a lot of motion, a lot of movement for you. It's almost like one minute you were building things, next minute, whoosh, it was all taking off. And I think that there was an element of you going, I'm not sure I can cope with this pace, but you were victorious at it. This has culminated in bringing you to where you are now, where you have just had a new beginning. See, I'm not telling you that you're having a new beginning, you've just had one. There will no doubt be another one in here somewhere. Where you were finally, from the base that you had built up, and from this action that you were forced to take, you were finally having to put your power forward. And this was certainly, there's almost like, I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm going to assume with this wheeled winged contraction that's on this card, that the magician here is Enoch, and that this is one of the angels that he saw. I think it's Enoch. Yeah, I'm sure it's Enoch. Comment down below if I'm wrong. But a wheeled four-winged angel. So that's indicating that spirit was certainly pushing you forward for you to head slap bang into some form of perceived conflict. This was something that, okay, so either spirit was pushing you in a direction that you weren't entirely really that sure about, because let's face it, every single one of us have doubted spirit at times. We maybe shouldn't, and we're always shown how that's a bad idea and that we should trust, but we're rational people living in a 3D world, it happens. But it's almost like you was preparing for some form of conflict, because notice with this Five of Swords, there is only one man on that card. The wolves that are wandering off, they're with him. They're all going in that direction of towards the horizon, because he's looking back at wherever his enemy was, who are not on this card. And in the Four of Swords in this deck, those four wolves were standing guard over him while he slept. So I always see those as allies, but allies that are surging ahead, almost like you're the rear guard, or not entirely satisfied that the episode has finished. So this has led you to trying to maintain this commitment at the moment, but I feel that you have lost a certain amount of faith in it. However, whatever that commitment is, I think you have a certain amount of happiness and contentment around you at the moment that you can access, but you do need to keep listening to spirit. This is what the High Priestess is telling me, because you are actually in a very creative phase. That might sound weird, but you are in a very creative phase. Remember, we've just come straight out of the Ace of Pentacles time here. In fact, that Ace of Pentacles is still touching the present line of the reading. And as much as you are sending messages out, there is still that energy of certain ships still coming in for you. You are receiving messages as much as you are sending them out, or you are receiving goods, because I think that back bird is an owl and it's carrying something. So that owl is coming into you as much as this hawk is leaving. But this High Priestess, she's sat under the light of the moon, creating and creating, flowers falling from her hand, a snake crawling around her hand, and is that a bouquet in, I don't know what that is, it could be a bouquet, in her other hand. So there is that sense of there's something in the distance to aim for. You see the twin pillars or twin towers there in the background. Beyond the waterfall, there is an emotional cleansing experience for you to go through, and this is maybe what you're aiming for with this Hierophant card, but also what you're quite confused about with this Page of Cups. But you know that there is soon time to act, and the balance can't... This balancing act of keeping the commitment while wanting to walk away from it at the same time, that can't go on. It's either dump the commitment, dump that 10 of Wands. Well, to be honest, I think the burden has been lifted recently. This is a whole new burden that you're facing at the moment. But you're certainly going into a more alone time if you're not already in an alone time. A Hermit with the 9 of Pentacles here. But this is putting pay to a situation. So yes, maybe you are working away from a commitment. Interestingly, I am really hoping this is not a relationship reading, but we do have in the Oracle decks a new romantic cycle begins. So there's certainly a lot of inner study here, and moving to stand on your own 2 feet and putting pay to some spectre of the past that you want rid of. Now, bear in mind, although that can all sound very negative, I'm not necessarily saying there's a split up here. I'm saying there is a standing on your own 2 feet, and there is a concentrating on your own inner light, and a concentrating on what you think is working to the highest purpose, and is keeping the commitments. There's certain commitments that you would just, I feel from this 4 of Wands, you're not going to drop them. Come what may, you're not going to drop them. I don't know whether that's a good idea or a bad, because that was clarified by an 8 of Cups card. Which we've got another one coming up, so maybe you are in the process of leaving something. But again, I tend to think that this is more internal than external. It's like you are finally leaving a point of view, so certainly since you are putting some spectre of the past to rest. But once that spectre of the past is got rid of, there is a whole new dream, or a whole new love, or a whole new level of love opening up for you with this Ace of Cups. And again with the butterfly image here, I'm feeling, I'm suddenly drawn to the dolphins on the top of the... I'll have to figure out what that means. I certainly think about communication when I think of the dolphins. So there's maybe communication coming to you that Spirit is guiding you to a whole new love, or a whole new passion, or a whole new level. So you will be achieving your aims of the Hierophant here. But it almost like it emotionally reduces you to the feeling of a child again. This Page of Cups hasn't got the same desperation as this one. You're getting a lot of repeated cards here, considering however many I put in the spread. You know, the fact that there's 78 cards in each of these decks, and you've already got 2 3 of Wands, 3 Temperances, 2 8 of Cups that I've seen, and now Page of Cups twice, with the 4 of Pentacles. Right, so with what's coming in soon, you are drawn to immediately try and defend and protect what you see as your stable base. Now, I want to say that your base is stable. You've put enough work into it recently before the current circumstance, so your base is stable. So, and I'm getting that from the sheer strength of this elephant. So I'm thinking that maybe you're worrying a little bit too much, and it's because you are feeling vulnerable. Good. A little bit of vulnerability never does anybody any harm. Because that's how you grow stronger, is by exhibiting your vulnerability and weathering that process. And there has been plenty enough opportunity recently to develop your strength with this strength card here and the transformation of the judgment card beneath it. So now it's time to use that strength that you have developed, because not everything around you is going to be true. There are certain forces and certain opposites that you have to deal with that you can't resist their power. You can't hold back the tide. You can't be King Canute ordering the tide to go back. But I do feel that childhood vulnerability, that sense of, I really don't know what I'm doing here. What do I do next? Is something that there's a purpose to it, because you're going through the hanged man phase. That's the reason for this top circumstance here. You are being forced to look at the world differently. You are being forced to question everything and to maybe spend a bit of time nurturing yourself as well as nurturing those around you. That base that you've built, like I say, that is strong. It might need a little bit of tweaking, but that base is strong. But there is certainly a dream that you finally decide, no, that's it. I have had enough. I am moving on. And look, we have the Four of Swords here. So there's that lone aspect again. But this time, by putting this past spectre to rest, and by walking away from this dream finally, not necessarily the commitment, the dream that was associated with it. Maybe that's a recognition that what you wanted that commitment to become is not what it's going to become. But that commitment is still strong. I do feel reasonably good about that Four of Wands card right in the centre. If a little aloof. So maybe this childhood vulnerability is a good thing, because it's going to cause you to dive into it a little and get your hands a bit dirty. Because that Pharaoh being there in the middle of that Four of Wands is just a little bit smug and a little bit sort of, I am in my base, I am surrounded by the four elements, I am master of all that I survey. And yes, you are master of all that you survey, as in you are master of how you survey it and how you perceive it. But how you perceive it is being turned upside down. And that process has already started, but it has a purpose, it has a reason. And bear in mind that not everything that you will be told information wise that's coming to you shortly will be true. Certainly not on, with the Page of Cups, a relationship level, not when I've got the moon clarifying it. So, and when I say relationship, little r or big R, there's so not just big R relationship, but friends, family, colleagues, co-workers, whatever. There's don't believe everything that you hear. Another thing that tells me this is here, Pruflas. Is a Prince and Duke of Hell in command of 26 military units. Demonographers claim that he may manifest in the form of a man with the head of an owl or a lion, so he may appear to be wise, or he may appear to be angry and strong. But what he loved doing is sowing discord among men. He's wrapped up, according to the Pseudomachia Demonica, if I've got the name of the book right. Anyway, he was tied up with the story of the Tower of Babel. Although my memory rather tells me that the Tower of Babel, it was God that split the men asunder and separated their languages, not some demon. But apparently he was resident in the Tower of Babel and likes sowing discord. Maybe that was his duty as an angel before the fall. But that does give me the impression of some really big wooden spoons out that you could be suffering from. So be aware of people with wooden spoons. Hopefully you know what I mean. People who are stirring it. People who are trying to cause trouble by telling you needless and possibly untrue information. And even if it is true, did you really need to know? And does it change that much? Especially if it's something that had happened a long, long time ago. We've got the Two of Swords in the relevant past here. Now, apart from Sagittarius, every sign has had the Two of Swords in during these April readings. So we're all having our eyes open to something, but then again, with all the activity around Pluto, it's very much about secrets coming up to the light. So just be aware of which dream you are walking away from. Because like I said, that even though that sense of commitment here is a little bit aloof, I do feel it's something that you are wanting to stick to. And if you want to stick to it, stick to it. Do not be persuaded to walk away simply because of a little bit of tittle-tattle and a little bit of, like I say, someone getting a big wooden spoon out. Right, where am I? I'm down here. So Four of Swords, a bit of time of respite. But again, I like this particular Four of Swords. We have the one material sword beneath, ready for him to reach for at any time he needs. But the three swords at the top showing energy from the Trinity coming in. That Three of Swords there also can, being a three, can indicate movement. But I very much see that as representing however you see the Trinity to be. Mother, Maiden, Crone, Father, Son and Holy Ghost, Sun, Moon and Stars even. That whether you're looking at it in a Christian way or a pagan way or simple numerology, but that with the three coming down from on high, it is spirit moving you during your rest time. So almost motion without moving. So again, emphasizing the message of those Eight of Cups. There is something that you're going to walk away from and you're considering walking away from, but under the influence of the moon here, make sure you walk away from the right thing. And I feel that the right thing for you to walk away from is that piece of information that comes to you, and one of your many reactions, because there's multiple reactions going on here with these different pages of cups. One of your many reactions is, hang on a minute, does that matter? What's that got to do with the price of bacon? How is that going to affect my relationship, little r, big R, whichever? How is that going to affect what I have been building? How is it going to affect the news that I have coming in for me? There it is. Or how I view this news. Why should I really why should I take it on board? Because you can watch the gossips dance, and in their dance, there is an opportunity for you to see something that goes, yeah, I know what I want to do. And I've got a funny feeling that it's not the commitment that you're going to walk away from. It may be the belief about what you thought that commitment was going to turn into, but I believe that might be replaced with something a lot better with this Ace of Cups here. But it's also going to bring you a little bit down to earth, not a bad thing. Be a little bit vulnerable, not a bad thing. But there is so much harvest promised by this process. We have Suchlaf here with the angel of verdance. Suchlaf or Suchlaf, the angel of verdancy. I'll get my teeth in. So there will be a choice coming up, and you can. Now this is interesting because this moon card, Another repeated card for you. I'm getting a bit of a theme going. This moon card, I'm more seeing about healing the opposites and using magic. Whether this is magicking... Magic, because magic is change. Magic to change the way that you think and how you perceive. Or magic in changing the destination while keeping hold of the ones that are necessary for you. There's a whole new love and a whole new dream opening up for that if you make the right choice. So it all boils down to what it is you choose to walk away from here. And one thing I do feel with all of this is there's no hurry. There is absolutely no hurry. Yes, choose to walk away from one thing or the other, but there's no hurry. We have Sahaya with longevity, or on the flip side, Barith with catastrophe and haste. So, less haste, more speed. There isn't... none of these cards are giving me like that sense of a clock ticking to, to say that there is a deadline. You feel a deadline with this Temperance card. You feel it's time to act, and it is, but that action is consideration. That action is thought. That action is going within to just figure out what you are viewing about the situation that is around you and through what lens you are viewing it. On that note, right, so there is an option of cutting something out where... Oh, that's interesting. So, Queen of Swords, clarified by the Two of Cups, so love, love, love. Unifying two forces within your life, and in this case, healing. And remember, a lot of this has been looking within and healing. There has been putting a past spectre to rest, but I don't feel that that was the end of the healing, because then you was vulnerable, and then you was making decisions to walk away from something, and then you was filling your cup with the idea of something to walk towards rather than walk away from. But be aware that... how can I say it? Don't go and fall in love just for the sake of it. Don't go in... and this could mean with a job, with a role, with a friend, with a lover. Just for the sake of it, until you know that you have clarity and you have some authority in the situation. You've had authority. That this Magician card, you are being watched over by angels. You're being empowered by angels. Now, there might be a certain element of... There's an agenda there that you are not fully aware of all the ins and outs of, but surrender. That's what this Oracle card is saying. Surrender, because Spirit is moving you along. So no hasty decisions. You've got time to think. You've got time to rest here. Because the Hanged Man is still coming into play. So the final outcome card, we've got the Six of Wands with whatever clarifies it underneath. So you have the ability to make the right choice. It's just, it all boils down to what it is that you choose to walk away from. Because in the past, you gained, this is the relevant past section, these two piles, are a lesson that you have learnt in the past that you either are using right now, not necessarily to its best advantage, maybe to its best advantage, maybe not, because the way I see it, it's a lesson that you have learned in the past that is either dictating your actions right now, or a lesson that you have learnt in the past that you should use to dictate your options. Since that second option is the good one, that rather makes the first option the bad one. Just because it was one way a long time ago doesn't mean it will be that way again. And that's, I definitely want to stress that because of this Two of Swords here. In the past, there was a clarity that was achieved where you just went, no, I'm having an end to this. And you cut things out, trying to be as wise about it as you possibly could. And that gained a transformation for you in your life, but you weren't aware of everything that was going on, but you was very much aware that there were some things hidden from you. But the efforts that you made were recognized, or that's not how I want to say it. We have Two of Swords, King of Cups, Three of Pentacles. Now, as I've said in many of these readings, this particular Two of Swords, this is the one that's turned up in every reading. That visor always reminds me of Geordi LaForge off of Star Trek Next Gen. So it's almost like you're closing out the distractions to see the more pure information, the more pure truth. And that gave you a dream with which to move forward. And that dream was what was recognised. Right, I understand. You had emotional resolution in the past, and that was obviously by calling an end to something once you gained clarity of the situation. Yes, you need to call an end to something here, but you have to use your discernment as to what it is you are calling an end to, because there is an influence of someone with a really big wooden spoon. And I think you fear that, yes, you fear that if you act as you are feeling right now, and you act in the terms of justice as you are seeing it, and cut things out, doing the wise old, King of Swords here, King of Swords there, back in the relevant past, that you will end up on your own, the Hermit. Now, you have got a lot of work to do alone. That doesn't mean that you end up on your own. So I am not making the decision for you about if this is a reading about a current partner or friend or job even. I'm not saying to you that you should leave the partner, job, friend. I'm saying that you should either leave the partner, job, friend, or leave the doubts and the anger and the hurt about the partner, job, friend. That's your choice. Leave the person or leave the chaos. Now, if you leave the person, that also leaves the chaos. Come on, camera, don't go weird on me. But that is your choice to make, not mine as a reader. You know, those are the two things that you have to balance, because okay, so somebody's advising you to look at what it is that you've lost. We've got a wonderful Five of Cups here, which I'm going to use to try and focus the camera a little bit. Yeah, it doesn't want to do that, does it? It's the sunlight coming in from that way. But I would be wary of the external influences. I would be wary of what little birds are telling you, because they're giving you choices, but I think they're giving you false choices. They're trying to obscure your path, and you have just come into your own power recently. So why would you want to obscure your own path? Don't listen to them. Or listen to them, take it on board, but just think, what do they gain by telling me this? Final outcome card. All sixes. Oh, probably not a good thing, 666. Although I rather think that you want to look up angel number 666. I'll look it up afterwards. We have the Six of Wands, the Six of Cups, and the Six of Swords. Victory leading to new and better shores, with happiness and contentment in there, and a recapturing of times past. a recapturing of the good things of times past. Six of Cups can be a very nostalgic card, and it can be a very backwards looking card. But with after all these Eight of Cups, this is not backwards looking, but you might be recapturing something good out of the past that had maybe dropped out of your awareness because you've been so distracted by all this chaos that's been going on. The final oracle card that I've not dealt with, and I'm glad I've saved it to the end here, is the Archangel Metatron. I am united with the source of all goodness, love and creativity. Now, you are making the effort to see the highest route through all of this. So as long as you doubt all the information that comes to you from others and question it and weigh it up and check it out, because like I said, there is somebody here with a big wooden spoon. There really does feel like it, and causing you to doubt lots of things that you don't necessarily need to doubt. So, I hope that means something to you, Capricorn. If it does, like I said, comment down below. I've given you the like, share, subscribe speech. Click the notifications bell or join the Facebook group, or both, to see when your next reading comes out from me. In the meantime, best of luck with this. I have faith here, certainly with these 3 sixes, final outcome cards. Remember, sixes are about contentment. They are about happiness. You can see your way through this. It's all a matter of just what precisely are you going to leave. All right? Cheers.